Hey everybody, this is the Food, Fitness, Finance, Fun Blab, and I'm your host, Kirsten, and we are on week number 2 of the month. So that means we are talking about never mind. We're on week number 3 of the month. So that means we are going to be talking about finance. And I love money. I love budgeting. I love figuring things out and working with money. I'm really good at helping people with budgets. I'm great at saving money for upcoming things. I'm good at spending money as well. I can't deny that. So every week of the month, we bring you either an expert or a conversation or a Q&A session about one of the 4 categories: food, fitness, finance, and fun. And like I said, today we're going to talk about finance. And I'm really excited because just a few months ago, my husband and I became debt-free. Other than our house, we still owe on our house, but we're going to be working on paying that off in the next few years. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story and how I did it, because I think that if I can do it, anybody can do it. And anybody can do it. So you just have to commit to it and decide that it's what you want. So my journey is, I have always spent a lot of money, and I've always made the same amount that I spend. So if I ever wanted anything, I could just make more money. So making money is easy. I just would get another job. You know, there were times when I had 3 or 4 jobs, and I'd make lots of money and spend lots of money. So I never really had money because I spent everything I would make. Well, when I met my husband, he came into the relationship without any debt. And I actually had a ton of debt because I had school loans. I had bought a car. And I think I had credit cards because I was, I'd buy clothes or whatever. I was in my early 20s. So, and I traveled a lot too. So I would always charge plane tickets and stuff like that. So my husband and I decided we wanted to get out of debt. So we both got a couple extra jobs, and we worked one summer super hard and paid off $26,000 in a year. And we weren't making that much. I was waitressing and working as a personal trainer at a gym and a swim coach. Wow, it kind of sounds like my life now. And this was almost 20 years ago. So, I was waitressing at 2 places, and he was working, building bicycles and then working at a liquor store at night. So we never saw each other. We just worked. We got completely out of debt. And then we moved. We were living in New York at the time. And then we moved to Colorado, and we had no debt. We bought a house, bought a bunch of furniture, started getting slowly back into debt because we had a house, we needed furniture, just all that stuff. So we became like normal people again, and racked up a ton of credit card bills because we had just moved. And so we weren't making a ton of money yet. And we were spending way more than we made. So over the years, we would pay off a bunch of debt and then get back in debt. We would pay off a bunch of debt, get back in debt, buy a house, buy a car, sell a house, sell a car. And that was going on for a long time. And it got really stressful because I wanted to open my own business. My husband wanted to open his own business. And this was about 10 years ago. We both opened our own businesses at the same time, and then just got deeper into debt. And then we just had to work all the time just to pay for our house and pay for our cars and pay for our debt. And we were exhausted. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I came across Dave Ramsey. And many of you guys have probably heard about Dave Ramsey. Basically, he's a financial guru. He gives financial advice. He's on the radio on hundreds of channels all over the place. And he gives very sound advice. Basically, things like, don't spend more than you make. Only buy something if you have the money for it. Save some money, spend some money, give some money. So it's very sound advice. So for people who, because every once in a while there's people like, oh, he's it's a crock of shit or whatever. Come on, it's very sound advice. So anyway, I loved him and I started listening to him. No, at first he has a course called Financial Peace University, and it's a live program where you can go and learn about his teachings. And what he teaches are called baby steps. And I'm going to go over those with you guys today because they're what helped me get out of debt. And I really believe in them. But I went to Financial Peace University. It was once a week for like 3 or 4 hours. And I went through that and I got kind of motivated and I started working toward it. But then, of course, something always came up. So I started paying off my debt, but then I needed new tires or my car broke down or I don't know, whatever. It never stuck. And so that was years ago. So I could have been out of debt years ago if I stuck with it, but I didn't. And I think the reason why is because you really have to be committed, just like anything. You have to be committed and disciplined. And my husband and I worked so much that we were still in the mindset of we deserve this. So if we wanted to go on a trip, like we went on a cruise, we went to Jamaica one year. And we just charged the whole trip. And it was like, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000. We just charged it, not even thinking about it we worked hard and we had never been on a trip like that. It was all inclusive and we deserved it. So we felt very entitled to everything that we wanted. And so we would just buy the things we wanted or go to the movies when we wanted or go out to eat when we wanted, which was all the time because I don't like to cook or clean. And so we weren't committed. We said we're like, oh, we're going to pay off debt. But what we really ended up doing was just working more because we were spending more. And then we would just get more tired and then feel more entitled because we worked so hard. So it was a vicious circle and we knew it had to stop. So about 2 years ago, we decided to revisit the Dave Ramsey thing. And by then he had, his radio show started being on a podcast. And I'm super into podcasts. I love listening to things. I'm listening to them constantly. I constantly have my headphones plugged into my phone. And if I'm folding laundry or driving somewhere or anything, I'm on a podcast. So he used to have 40 minutes a day of his radio show, of his 3-hour radio show on a podcast. So I would listen every day. Now he has 3 40-minute segments. So now I can listen even more. But listening to him every day got me excited. So he answers people's questions. So you can learn a ton. I've learned so much, but it keeps me motivated and keeps me excited. So 2 years ago, we decided okay, we're doing this. We're getting out of debt. So we started working on a budget. We started going through the baby steps again. We started paying off our debt with the debt snowball, which I'll explain in just a minute. And then we had a plan of 2 years or a year and a half ago getting out of debt in July because we were going to potentially be in Nashville where his radio show is, where his business is, and people go on the air and they do what's called a debt-free scream to declare they're debt-free. And he considers debt-free other than your house. So all your other debt other than the house. So we were on track to do that. We were living in an RV at the time. And because we were traveling so much, I started slacking in my businesses and we started making less and less money. And we weren't able to hit our target goal. And then I actually qualified for the World Championships for Ironman in Kona, Hawaii, which I don't regret at all. Like I'm super happy that I took the time to train out of my businesses so I could qualify. But we decided since we were in Hawaii anyway, we might as well stay a month. So we actually spent the full month of October of 2014 in Hawaii. And again, kind of derailing I think we had like $7,000 saved for it. And it ended up total costing us about $14,000 for the month. I know that sounds like a lot, but we were like, we're in Hawaii. We can do whatever. My husband rented a motorcycle for a week and we went to every place. We hopped over to other islands, and we made the best of it. So, but it was really, you know, it completely derailed our plan. So we get back from Hawaii in November of 2014, and we're like, okay, this is it. We are hitting it hard. So for the next 8 months, we really stuck with our budget. I picked up little odds and ends jobs. If somebody needed a class subbed at one of the gyms nearby, I always did it. Even if I hate waking up at 5 a.m, which I do, I would sub a spinning class at 5 a.m. And we ended up in October of 2015 paying off all our debt. So we happened to be driving through Nashville because I was doing some marathons down there in that area. And I did my debt-free scream in front of Dave Ramsey's building. It was on a Sunday, so nobody was there, but it was me with my selfie and my camera going, I'm debt-free. So it was really exciting. And I will never be in debt again, other than a house. Obviously, we have a house right now. But I will never be in debt again. And I'm super motivated. I still listen to Dave Ramsey every single day. So when I go through the baby steps and talk about some of the things that I did, the number one thing that kept me motivated and excited and going is to listen to the podcast every single day. It's a free podcast. If you don't know how to do a podcast, just if you have an iPhone, the app is called Podcast. And if you have a Android, one of the apps is called Stitcher, and you just search Dave Ramsey and it'll come up. It's one of the most popular radio shows in the world. So I'm going to tell you about his plan. So there's 7 baby steps, and he calls them baby steps because one step at a time. Let's just start from the beginning. And to me, they're really sound. People call in all the time and they're like, I want to skip baby step 3 and go to 4. What do you think? And he's like, nope. Because he made the baby steps in order for a reason. So the first baby step 1, is to get $1,000 in a savings account ASAP. So for a lot of people like me, when I first started, I was like, crap, where am I going to get $1,000? Because I would spend every single penny I made. Our budget took up every single penny we made. And then we were still charging things. So here are some suggestions that have helped me. Sell things. You can sell things on eBay. You can sell things on Amazon. Look through your books. What's something that you aren't going to read all the time or something that you don't need anymore. I had old workout DVDs, old clothes that could be worth. I remember I sold some of our really nice, like I had a North Face Gore-Tex jacket that I just wasn't wearing anymore. So look through your stuff. What can you sell? There's so much. And honestly, like I think one thing that holds people back is they're like my North Face jacket. I think I bought it for like $425 and I sold it for like $50. You got to get over that because the value of the jacket is the value that somebody's going to pay for it, not what you think it's worth. So look through your garage, have a garage sale. I mean, we have so much crap. Americans in general have so much extra crap laying around that we never use. Look through all your stuff, sell stuff. The next thing I do is I looked at my budget. What can I get rid of on my budget? One of the things we got rid of, which my husband, it wasn't up. He disagreed with this one. We got rid of our TV programs, like our satellite TV. So we didn't have any channels. We couldn't watch TV anymore. And that does a couple things. It saved us $100 a month, but it also gave us time to work on some other things. So we weren't sitting there watching TV. And these days you can watch all your shows on your computer or your phone or your tablet anyway. So look at some of the things that you can reduce or get rid of. Can you lower your phone plan? Can you, get rid of some of your monthly costs, your reoccurring costs, because if you cut down your budget, there's going to be some stuff left over. You can put that in your savings. The other thing you could do is pick up a couple extra hours at a job. You can do some little, babysitting or mowing the lawn or delivering pizzas, or I'm a fitness instructor. So I just went to all the local gyms and said, hey, I can sub any classes. And yeah, do I like to sub, like I said, 5 a.m? No. Or last weekend, I subbed 2 classes on a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. It's not my idea of a Saturday morning. So get creative, and you want to get the $1,000 in your account ASAP. So the faster you get it in, the better. Some people already have $1,000 in a savings, or some people have, like, one of the things we had is I had money saved for some other things. Like, for example, we were starting to put in for retirement. Well, Dave Ramsey believes that until you have your savings and your debt's paid off, you're out of debt other than your house, you shouldn't be saving for retirement. So we stopped saving. I put a hold on my saving for retirement. So there's another couple $100 I could be throwing into my emergency fund. So look through your budget, cut some things out, sell some things, get $1,000 in your account ASAP. All right, that's baby step one. Oh, and we did baby step one like 600 times. So I would get $1,000 in, and then I would have to use it for something. And then I'd get $1,000 in, then I'd have to use it for something. It was frustrating, but just stick with it. Even if it takes you, I think that literally took me 6 years to get $1,000, but I wasn't hardcore. I was just like, oh, I have to take out $100 to sign up for this race because I don't want it to fill up. Like, that's not an emergency. Come on. So that's baby step one. Baby step two is to get out of debt, everything but your house. So he recommends that you list your debts, all your debts, like school loans, any loans that you have, car loans, any money that is your debt other than your house. You list them in order, smallest to largest. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It doesn't matter anything. Smallest to largest. Then you pay the minimums on every bill. And then any extra money that you can scrounge up through the month, you put toward the smallest. And the reason that he does that is because emotionally, when you start seeing your debts disappear, so let's say I think our smallest one when we got serious was we had a vet bill from our dog who passed away. And it was still like $600 or $800. And so watching everything go down is rewarding. But when you have a debt that's like $18,000 and it goes down $200, you're like, okay, now I owe $17,800. It's not very exciting. But when you have an $800 bill and it goes down to $600, you're like, oh my gosh, my debt, that bill is almost paid off. So it gets you excited. It keeps you motivated. So smallest to largest, pay the minimums on everything, throw any extra money that you have laying around, collect cans. I don't know, anything. Do they still give money for cans? I think they do. Put it on the smallest. When that debt is paid off, take the minimum that you put for that and anything else and roll it into the next one. When that debt's paid off, take all those minimums, roll it into the next one. So you keep paying your minimums on everything else. And then you see them going smaller and smaller. And it's really exciting to be like, because I think we had like 10 different loans, and all of a sudden after the first few months, we were down to like 6 because those top ones were so small that when I started focusing on them and putting all our extra money toward them, they started disappearing really quickly. So it's called the debt snowball. And that's baby step 2. So when you're done with baby step 2, so let's say your payments for your debts were like $1,000 a month. All of a sudden, when you're out of debt, you have $1,000 extra dollars a month plus interest. So when we first started paying off our debts, I noticed that I hadn't really ever paid attention to interest. We owned an RV and we owed $10,000 on it. About $10,000 when we started our debt snowball. Our payments were only like $150 a month. And only 50 of that was going toward the principal. So we were paying it for like 2 years and still owed like $9,800. It was like ridiculous. We still owed like over $9,000 and we were paying on it for 2 years. So 100 of it was going to interest. So not only are we saving $150 a month, but we're saving in general, we're saving all that money that was going to nothing. That was just going away. And so with our credit card bill, we had like $300 a month in interest. And so it's like we were paying $200 or whatever the minimum was. And then the interest was like $300. So if we wouldn't have gotten rid of that, we would have never, ever been out of debt. So with your monthly bills and your interest and all that, it's just, if you're in debt, you will never have money. So let's say you were paying $1,000 in debt. Now you have $1,000 that you can put toward your next baby steps. So baby step 3 is getting a fully funded emergency fund. And what that looks like is 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So 3 to 6 months is a really big, broad range. So I think if your job is really, really secure, then you need less of an emergency fund. Or if you have control over your job, or if you have multiple jobs, then you could go less, like maybe 3 or 4 months emergency fund. Whereas if you have a job where there's a lot of turnover, or it's a newer job, or you have a commission-based job that goes up and down that you have no control over, maybe 5 to 6 months emergency fund. And then it also depends on your skills, because if you're somebody who only has one skill and you get laid off and all you could do is keep looking for that one job, then you might need a bigger emergency fund. But if you're someone who, if you got laid off and you're willing to work anywhere, like pick up jobs here and there, go to the gas station, work at Taco Bell, if you're willing to do that, then you might need a smaller emergency fund, because you know that if something happens with your job, you can go out and make more money, even the same amount of money all the time, like right away. So it's kind of this, it depends on your job, your lifestyle. If you have one spouse working, then maybe a smaller emergency fund, because if you get laid off, your other spouse can work. The other spouse, not your other spouse. You shouldn't have 2 spouses. The other spouse can get a job and work and cover some of that. So for us, we decided, so our minimum, like 3 months would be like $12,000 for an emergency fund. And our 6 months would be like $18,000. So we decided just to go in the middle. So our goal is $15,000 in an emergency fund. So that's what baby step we're on right now, is baby step 3. And again, don't start your retirement. Don't save for your kids' colleges. If you had any extra money, I forgot to mention this. Let's say you had $5,000 in savings when you started this, you take $1,000 and keep it in savings. That next $4,000 goes into your paying off your debt. And then when your debt is paid, then you start building back up that $1,000 into whatever your goal is. So for us, it's $15,000. So that shouldn't be too hard, because you have no debt. So that $1,000 you were putting toward your debt every month, now that goes in savings. So we can save an extra $1,000 a month. The other thing that gets exciting is, for me at least, is I'm listening to Dave Ramsey on my podcast. The wheels are turning in my head. I want to make more money. I subbed 2 classes at 7 a.m. at the gym last week. Any extra money that's coming in goes toward the emergency fund. So not only are you putting your $1,000, but you're also excited, getting focused and putting more in there. So you sell something, you put it in the emergency fund. And I've noticed, like, we've only had to spend a little bit out of our emergency fund. I had to buy tires for my car. Basically, the guy at the tire shop said, you need to get tires before the first snow. And I think I got them on the 3rd snow. So I was holding off because I didn't want to spend my emergency fund. But so that was the only thing we've spent out of our emergency fund since we've been building it since October. So it's been about 4 months of building it. So I'm going to move, even though we're on baby step 3, I'm going to move on because I want to tell you guys about the other baby steps. Baby step 4, 5, and 6, you do all at the same time. Baby step 4 is putting 15% of your household income into retirement. So this is the point where you can start back up on your retirement and start putting 15% of your retirement into an IRA. If you go through one of the Financial Peace University classes, or you buy Dave Ramsey's book, Total Money Makeover, they talk more in depth about what these investments are. I'm not an investment person. I'm not going to even pretend I am. I'm not going to give any advice. But you just want to put 15% of your income into retirement. Then with the leftovers, so after you have that established, then you start saving for your kids' college. If you don't have kids, woohoo, you just skip the step. Smart. I don't have kids. I can skip that step. But if you do have kids, you want to start saving for their college fund. And then the baby step 6, so 4, 5, and 6, you all do simultaneously, because you're putting money into your retirement, you're saving for your kids' college, and then you're going to start paying down your house. So as soon as we were out of debt, we saved up some money to refinance our house, and we refinanced it into a 15-year fixed mortgage loan. And our goal is to pay that off in 5 years. So we haven't started putting any extra yet because we're not on that step and we're going in order. But as soon as we get our emergency fund, that money that we are putting into the emergency fund, that $1,000, we'll put some toward our retirement. And then we don't need to save for kids' colleges. So everything else we make, everything else that's extra is going to go toward paying down our house. And our goal is to have it paid off in 5 years. So then we will own our house, which is worth right now like $250,000, which would be awesome to own something that's $250,000 flat out, like free and clear. And then we would be completely debt free. So that's baby step 6, the baby step 6. And then baby step 7 is to start building wealth through other investments and, other things. You can buy real estate, you can buy, whatever you choose for your investments to be. You start building wealth so that you can give more money to those who need it. So my ultimate goal is to be 100% financially free, and all the extra money I can give toward whatever I feel like giving toward. So I'll be watching YouTube, and, some thing comes on where the dog's owner threw the dog out the window, and it's on its deathbed and they need donations because the dog needs 8 surgeries. And I'm bawling, saying, oh my God, I wish I had $500 to just send them right now to get that dog started. I'm going to be able to do that. And that really excites me. So that's what keeps me motivated. And that's what keeps me excited. And that's what keeps me disciplined and on this path. So within the past 6 months, I would say, from listening to the podcast every day, from seeing the future that I have with my finances, I have not even wanted to make any big purchases. I actually even, my husband can attest to this. We each get money that we can spend each month. Of course, you have to spend money. And I mostly spend mine on races because I love racing, and racing's really expensive. So I can spend mine on whatever I want, and he can spend his on whatever he wants. And he bought last week, a couple weeks ago, he bought dishes because we didn't have any dishes in the house. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe you're spending money on dishes. And he's like, oh God, this girl. So I'm kind of anal right now about, I don't want to spend any money on things that aren't necessary. I didn't think dishes were necessary. We own 2 plates. There's 2 of us in our house. What's the problem? But he thought we needed a few more. So now we have 6 plates. So if you want to come over for dinner, we have plates. So anyway, does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to ask about my journey or the program or anything like that? I'd be happy to answer them. If not, thank you guys so much for being here. And I'm really excited to move forward on my journey to get to baby steps 4, 5, and 6 is really, really cool to me. So somebody posted that they got rid of their home phone and they only have their cell phone. That's really smart, because what do you really use a home phone for? We haven't had one for, 5, 6, 7 years. We just have our cell phones. So that would save you $20 a month. that makes a difference. It all adds up. And that's the thing I want to leave you with, is that these little things, like I sold a book the other day. I think I made, by the time I shipped it and stuff, I made like $1.50. Well, people are like, oh, that seems like a lot of work to sell a book just to make $1.50. Well, that $1.50 is going to add on to that $20 you saved from getting rid of your house phone, which added on to the $6 you got from collecting cans and turning them in, which adds into the, 87 cents you found under the couch and decided to save it, which adds, it just all adds together. And all of a sudden you're out of debt and you've paid off your house, and you can just give and give and give and live the life that you want to live and have the freedom to choose the way you want to live your life. And that to me is motivation enough to stay on track. So that's where I'm at. Thank you guys for being here. If you want to check out our Blab next week, it will always be posted under foodfitnessfinancefund.com/FFFF Blab. That's 4 F's. And I look forward to seeing you guys again. All right. See you later. Bye.